Hey guys, it's Orlando from Wildfire Leather, and today we have another show cordovan wallet build. To be exact, I have these acrylics that I cut out just so I can actually see through the show cordovan that I'm going to cut, just so I can see kind of like the marbling from this marbled blue show cordovan, and then kind of any striations on the natural show cordovan that we're using. These are about 4 ounces, and I picked these up from RM Leather Supply, which I believe they're outside of Salt Lake City, Utah. But as you can see, I took off the masking tape off of those acrylics, and I'm making the Lone Pine, which is just a very minimalist 3-pocket wallet. But as you can see exactly the pattern or that marbling that I'm going to get from that blue shell cordovan with the clear acrylic. That way I can kind of place it around where I want it on the blue and then also on the natural shell cordovan. This also helps me not be too wasteful with the material. Rocado is more budget friendly compared to Horween shell cordovan, which is tanned here in the US, and Rocado is tanned in Italy. They both make outstanding pieces, and the material is just fantastic to work with, so you can't go wrong with either one in my opinion. So next is I'm going to add some masking tape to the top pieces, and this is just to avoid any charring from the laser cutting, which is going to cut out the main pattern, and it's going to etch the stitching holes, which later I'll punch out individually using the Cinnabrook stitching punches. So I'm using the Glowforge Pro. I've been using it for about 4 years now. It really hasn't let me down. I try to clean it and maintain it the best I can, but I am looking to upgrade hopefully within the next year or two. So if you have any laser recommendations, go ahead and leave them down below in the comments. So next is hot stamping our Ego Carry What Matter logo on the bottom right, and I'm about to make a mistake. Well, not really. Ouch, not sure why I put my hands there. I knew it was hot as it was prepping the brass stamp for the stamping. But lesson learned, I'll try not to do it again. But here's the piece that I made. This was available in our ready to ship section. It's already gone at this point, but feel free to sign up for our newsletter on our website. Follow me on Instagram. That's where I make these available and known. So when it comes to crafting, using the Cinnabrook stitching punches is probably my absolute favorite thing to do. So the holes, as you can see, they're not cut out by the laser, but they were etched, and now I'm punching them out. Enjoy some ASMR here. Hope you enjoyed that ASMR. YouTube seems to love that so much when it comes to shorts. But here we're beveling the edges here on the top and the bottom of the pieces. I don't show this on camera, but I do use some Tokonol just to burnish the very top. And this is a Palo Santo #1. So I'm using the skiving knife here just to go ahead and roughen up the edges of where the gluing is going to take place. With shell cordovan, because it's a very glossy kind of smooth finish, I like to scratch it up a little bit inside on the finished surface and also on the inside which is the unfinished or finished. But I like to do that just to scratch it a little bit to help the glue adhere, especially when it comes to shell cordovan. So applying glue here, this is water-based glue from 1+1, and in this pen adapter, it's such a time saver as opposed to dipping in like the plastic spatula and then applying it on the very edges of the pieces. It's such a time saver, and highly recommend. So I let the glue kind of settle and get clear, and then I start gluing the pieces together. And then I like to use this roller from Amazon just to kind of help the glue adhere and the pieces kind of stick together, as opposed to using a hammer, which could make a marking much easier when you're banging it. So almost finished and done with these two pieces. Next is hand stitching. So I'm using some beige thread here, which was requested by the client when it comes to their piece. And I think ultimately it makes this piece come all together and it makes it pop versus that blue and that natural shell cordovan from Rocado. It's such a great contrast, as you'll see towards the end. When I hand saddle stitch at the very beginning, at the end, I like to back stitch at least twice. In this case, I did it 3 times, and in the back is where I'm going to zap the threads with the lighter. The back not being the presentable side, I guess. So carefully using the lighter here just to melt the threads. And on to the next step, which just takes absolutely forever. So I don't record the whole process, but I'm sanding the edges down here. Off camera, I did use a Dremel tool to using their sanding bit to sand the edges. And now I'm using, I think this is 600-bit sandpaper. So I'll sand, add some Tokonol, burnish it a little bit, and then I'll reapply or resand it using 600 grit up to 800 grit sandpaper, Tokonol, and hand burnish all over again until I get the desired look that I want. I don't get mirror finish. That's just not my style, but it's still a very presentable and smooth finish on the edges using the process that I do. So almost finished. I'm going to bevel the edges here just one last time on the outside piece, and then off camera, because sanding can take forever sometimes, I use 800 grit sandpaper to sand off the edges, reapply Tokonol, hand burnish with the cotton cloth. I do this several times until I get the desired finish that I want. And they look great to me. Let me know down in the comments, what do you prefer, mirror finish or not mirror finish? And the last piece here is just adding some saphir, buff it out a little bit, and these wallets are absolutely done. Here they are. The one to the left with the Eagle logo was commissioned by the client, and the one on the right was available in our ready to ship section. These came out absolutely amazing. Let me know down in the comments which one's your favorite, the one with the beige or the blue thread. Thanks for watching this week's video, guys. I hope to have another one up next week. So make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.